Hello and welcome to this episode of JJ's Workshop. Spring is finally here and summer is in the air. So I'm working on an organization project for my shop as I'm slowly getting rid of crap. But I found a need for something that would hold on to hardware. Screws, nuts, bolts, anything that I would use in the shop. I want to get it off my surfaces because it's taking up so many of my shelves. It is just driving me nuts. So I'm taking this step by step. Pretty soon I'll be working on a couple other new projects, possibly a little outhouse type deal for the tiki bar, no number twos. Got to keep it clean. And we're also going to be working on a couple different style of workbenches coming up. And that will be an outdoor project with my father, so we'll be working in the tiki bar to build those, bring them into the shop when they're done. For now, I'm going to work on this caddy, and I will show you how I do it as I go. Okay, so what I did was I cut a 2x4 in half, made them, just slightly under 4 feet. I just marked it at 4 foot. And cut right down the middle, so you lost like a 1/16 on each side, so you might as well call them 4 feet. So what I did was I set my blade for 7/8 for the thickness of the cut, for the height, and then for the width, I did a heavy 3/4 width. So then you get a line like this. Now, what you need to do now is take that right there, you can see the line, and you just need to cut this part off. Run the blade straight through so it leaves a little knock in there for that other board to set in as a locker. And I'll show you how this goes as we get going through the project. Sweet, that was easier than I thought. So basically what you're left with is something like this. Now what's going to happen is that this is going to be flipped around like that, and then your little wedge is there, and then you'll have another board with this flat part on the bottom, and that's what holds on to it. And then basically what it should do is that you'll have your top will slide up into here on your box, and that's what helps it lock in place. And then what you do is you just pull out and it'll slide out on an angle, so you'll be able to remove your hardware boxes. Now, if you plan on building another one underneath your first row, you're going to want to do that to both of your 2x4s. And you continue doing that until you're at the bottom where you don't want to put any more below. Then you don't have to notch that anymore. You can just leave it a full 2x4 on that bottom as long as your notch is in the top so you could slide it in. You're good as gold. All right, so now we're on to the boxes. Okay, so just a little bit of an idea what's going on here. I'm not using the plywood that the original plans call for. Original plans call for 1/2 inch thick plywood, so you can kind of make them to any size you want. I'm using 1x6, so it's 3/4 thick and 5.5 wide. So basically what I did for the back board over here, well, let's see, what did I write down? The back is 6¼ inches tall and obviously the 5½ wide. The two sides are 5 inches wide and the front is 4½. Now what I did was I figured my 4½ inches and then went to 0, and I kind of came up with the conclusion that it's about a 10-degree angle, so it kind of looks like this. Obviously it's not put together yet, but I just wanted to give you my dimensions real quick, and then after that we got to put a bottom in, and one of these is now complete. Quite a simple project. It's quite a bit of leeway here, so if you make a mistake, no big deal. No one really cares. It's just for hardware. Alright, so the next part of the project is we're going to put the bottoms on. You can use the 1x6. For me, I'm just putting screws and nails in. So I actually decided I had enough 1/4 inch scrap Luan that I'm just going to staple that down. Look, even fancy. Some of it's actually got veneer on it still from when I was practicing my veneering. So it doesn't really matter how pretty the bottom looks. So what I'm using is a pneumatic stapler, 3/8 inch staple, 1/4 inch crown. All 4 sides and then a couple in the middle, and then once that glue sets up, that bottom will be in there. Now I'm going to be a little more fancy with my boxes. I actually think I thought about staining them, but I think I'm going to leave them natural color, and I'm just going to poly them, get out the gravity feed and HVLP and do a little bit of spraying on it. So I'll just sand the outsides down. I'm not really too concerned about the insides because it's just going to get all scratched up anyways. But yeah, and then I'm going to add some finish to the 2x4s that will be mounting on the wall, just to kind of make them look a little nice. And using the oil base, it just kind of protects it against moisture so your wood doesn't rot. So this is the finished product. A couple coats of poly and they come out really easy. They go in really easy. They'll handle weight. Might run a couple more screws in the 2x, but yeah, now I'm just gonna make a couple little signs or something, probably out of mahogany, just saying what size and stuff like that is. But I have the notch down below on the bottom, 2x down here, so I can make another one run across the bottom. And I think I might actually build a few more of these down the road, and put them over closer to where my new workbenches will be. Thanks for watching this episode of JJ's Workshop. I'll see you next time.